Stephen A. Smith immediately comes to Jerry Jones' defense when a picture surfaces of him blocking black students. What up, world? It's your boy Challz Brown back again with another Talking Facts. Okay, unless you're living in a hole, you have probably most likely seen the picture of Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones in an old photo that did not project him in a great light. And I want to talk about this. I want to catch you up to speed if you don't know the ins and outs and what's going on specifically, so we can have a conversation. All right. Historian and civil rights activist Joshua Clark Davis tweeted a black and white picture from 1957 of 6 black students trying to enter North Little Rock High School. They are surrounded by white men and teens trying to prevent them from entering the school. Among the crowd of racists stands Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, who is one of the young men trying to stop the school desegregation from taking place. He was 14 years old at the time. According to Davis, the now 80-year-old has acknowledged it was him in the picture. While this may be surprising for some, the multi-billionaire has a sketchy past when it comes to black and brown people. In 2013, he was recorded on video making an insensitive comment about a black woman. I don't know what the comment was. I don't remember. Famously, in 2017, as NFL players took a knee during the national anthem to protest police brutality and racial injustices, Jones gave his players an ultimatum: stand for the anthem or be cut from the team. Jones has also been called out on several other occasions for being silent on issues facing African Americans, which is disheartening, considering many of his players are black. Though Jones admitted to being in the photo, he has not apologized for it nor issued a public statement about it. We also want to add that wasn't in that article that I just read. Jones has not hired or even considered hiring a black head coach, which is a very serious matter of contention in the NFL, which is why we have the Rooney Rule. You have to consider black coaches for these positions because we are drastically outnumbered and we don't get the opportunities to coach in the NFL as we used to didn't get the opportunities to be quarterback and other things. At one point, we weren't allowed to play at all in the NFL as black people. We got 1 and 2 and 3, and then it became a thing, but it was a very hard struggle to even get one black player in the NFL. We finally got in over the course of years and years and years, and we were still subject to racism. And to this day, we're still having trouble placing black coaches. So that is a very high issue of contention in the sports world. So with all that being said, before we even really talk about, this video is not about Jerry Jones, right? We're going to talk about Stephen A. Smith's defending Jerry Jones, which is a different subject, okay? But I need to give you some backstory on who Jerry Jones is and why he even was needing defense from Stephen A. Smith. So I want to read the other article about Stephen A. Smith's involvement. Stephen A. Smith, who is a sports commentator for ESPN, is sticking beside Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones after a photo of him trying to stop black students from entering North Little Rock High School in 1957. This day was one of the most notable events in history and marked a turn in school desegregation. A 14-year-old Jones can be seen in the picture, one of the white teens trying to intimidate the students. The now 80-year-old admitted that it was him in the picture. Outrage followed the photo, with many in the sports world calling out Jones. However, the ESPN First Take host defended Jones in the scandal. In fact, during his recent segment on the show, the sports commentator said way too many people are reacting to the photo of him pretty pissed off. Quote, I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened. He doesn't deserve it. One report, our report, said he was 14 years old. Another report said that he was 15 years old. At minimum, that's 65 years ago. Smith believes people are using the photo to highlight the fact that Jones has never hired a black coach. He explains that no one should be holding Jones accountable for his actions unless he was a mature adult at the time. I don't have a problem with the photo. If he was 30, 35, 40 years old, that would be different, the 55-year-old Stephen A. Smith added. Jones has not offered up an apology for a viral video. So this is goofy, right? And I give Stephen A. the benefit of the doubt many times. A lot of times he's on the other side of issues where people jump to judgment, and he'll be the voice of reason at the risk of being called several derogatory things. Let's say that, right? Certain things you can't really say on YouTube. I'm not trying to get my video taken down, but they call Stephen A. Smith a lot of derogatory things. And before I go to calling people derogatory things, I need proof of them being that, what's being called in that situation. The simple fact that Stephen A. Smith has come out to say he was only 14, as if that's some kind of excuse. And I get it that it's 65 years ago, right? But there are things when I was 14. Now, I get it. He's trying to make the case that when you were young, you were 14, you can't be held accountable for something you did 65 years ago, right? But there are some things that people do at 14 that's what they're going to be the rest of their life, right? If I'm 14 and I touch kids inappropriately, do you think because it's 65 years later that I'm all somehow absolved of that, or I'm somehow better out of nowhere with no type of therapy, no type of nothing? I just automatically I'm better because I say so? No, it's a pattern of behavior. The simple fact that a lot of people online of several colors, I'm not even going to just say it's all white people. A lot of people online are trying to spin it as one, he's just standing there looking, right? I've been on Twitter for a while this morning. I'm looking at the temperature, and the temperature is he's just standing there watching. Why is he being demonized for just standing somewhere? He's not even part of the mob. He's only observing. He actually looks a little worried. He looks a little concerned. He doesn't even look, get out of here. So the simple fact of the matter is, if I'm standing in a picture, right, of known racists who came to this school to block it from being segregated, and they stood in the path of these students, this is a very, very documented moment in history, right? This is a volatile state. This is where what was it? The little girls died in the church fire, right? Am I bugging? Ain't this where this happened? This is the place. This is the time. This is where they were lynching, hanging, beating, hurting, spitting on, sicking dogs on. This is that time, right? And I'm 14. I'm being shaped by this. And if I'm being shaped by this, it means this is what this is where I begin to make my right and wrong. This is where I start to figure, okay, this is how it is, and this is how it should be. Some of these people going into these schools are around his age with these weapons, right? Some of these people that are actually making a lot of comments online that are racist are this kid's age. And if I'm standing and I'm blocking the doorway so you can't get in, it's impossible to say I'm an innocent bystander. They're trying to make the case that it was 65 years ago. No one's trying to hang this man, right? But we want to bring light to it, right? Then the simple fact of the matter is when we were taking knees, Jerry came out, he was the boldest owner of all. He said, you get on that field and you're not going to make a peep about kneeling down. And if you do, I'm going to cut you. That was the ultimate threat. And the problem with a lot of black people like the Cowboys. A lot of them don't want to hear this. A lot of them have ignored this for many years. And the simple fact, the NFL has always been racist. The NFL, I just told you in the beginning, we weren't even allowed to play. It's always been racist. So it's not a conversation about, is the NFL racist? My son asked me when the kneeling went down, right? My eldest son asked me when we were talking about it. And he said he was boycotting. I'm like, what you boycotting for? He said, because they're racist. I said, well, when they start being racist? Because they've been racist. So I don't know if it's just because it's 2020 or 2019 that all of a sudden you think they just became racist with Colin Kaepernick. They've been racist since I was a little boy. So it's not about is it racist? It's been racist. It's about what level of tolerance we're going to have for it and what are we going to do to change it. It's been racist. So the simple fact of the matter is we already known what Jerry Jones is about. This ain't that about that. This is about Stephen A. Smith trying to make excuses for the man. This is the lowest Stephen A. Smith has ever gone. I don't usually have problems with him. Sometimes he jumps too far in on the other side of things, trying to be the voice of reason. But at the end of the day, this one right here, bro, you went too far. At the end of the day, on this one, you're letting your personal relationship with Jerry Jones, if your excuse is, or if your reasoning is, he was only 14. There's a lot of things that only 14 cannot follow as an excuse. I can go down the line and give you a bunch of things that he was only 14 are not going to cut it, bro. I get what you're trying to say about cancel culture, and they reach back 65 years. There's nothing they can do to this man. This man's an 80-year-old billionaire. There's really nothing social media could do, but you don't even want to have the conversation. There's nothing they can do to Jerry Jones, but you don't even want to have the conversation. You said you were pissed off. What you pissed off for? Because you can't get on the jet no more if you come against him? What you pissed off for? And at the end of the day, why are you pissed off? This man is 80 years old. He's a billionaire. These tweets ain't hurting this man. These Facebook posts ain't hurting this man. Dollar stock is not going down at all. And he haven't even apologized or said anything one way or the other, whether he gives a shit or not. So I'm trying to figure out, what are you jumping and protecting him for? He don't even care. He said, it's me, and you made more excuses than he did for himself. He never said, I was there, but I regret my actions. I will meet with certain civil leaders to become more sensitive to the plight of it. He just didn't say nothing. So how are you going to come and make a whole defense for him? You're his lawyer, his everything. You're his whole legal team. And as a black man, you said nothing about the people that he was. You know what? I'm going to go back and rewatch your whole rebuttal, because I don't know if you're defending him or criticizing the black people that tried to get into school. Because the simple fact, you made it like he was standing in the back just watching. If I pay a whole bunch of people to stand in front of this Chipotle, right? If I pay 40 people to stand there and block the door, what's at that point, are they guilty of blocking the door? They blocked the door. So the simple fact, I can't distinguish, well, they got paid. No, it doesn't matter. If I'm trying to get into Chipotle, it's 40 people standing there. It doesn't matter the reason. So if he put his nice little shirt on and went and stood there and watched these kids, grown men and kids, stand and block this school, he's culpable. He's a part of that. There is no watching from that. He could have watched that across the street. He's in the fray. He's behind the crowd. He ain't that many people back either, bro. So let's not play this semantics that, oh, he was only 14 and he's not getting. How much do you need? Do you need full video? Killers have been convicted for less. They got a full picture with his face completely there. There is nothing to say. Your best response would have been no response. Or your best response would have been, I'm going to let Jerry speak for himself on this. You had no business jumping in, defending Jerry Jones, who has a questionable past at best. Right? I'm not even going to get into his situation because I talked about him enough. We're talking about Stephen A. Smith jumping in as a black man, telling us we should be more lenient on the 80-year-old billionaire who's caught red-handed staring down black people trying to walk into a school. So if we're going to say it's no question that he's racist, and we've been dealing with it and we've been eating it for all these years, it ain't even about him. It's about Stephen A. doing the tap dance right now, trying to make friends and make nice, and he brought all these other people out into the woodwork to say, yeah, he really didn't do anything. That's the problem. And I'm going to leave it at that. Stephen A. Smith, you got a lot to explain and do. You got a lot to tell us. We need more answers than this. All right? CLBMG. I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Peace.
CLB.